I think it's undeniable that the new Pokémon Winds and Pokémon Waves region is based on Southeast Asia, more specifically as it seems in Indonesia. There are many hints at that, be it from the look of the region itself with the coral reefs, the lush jungles and crystalline waters, but also from the buildings with the Pokémon centers / Pokémarts looking like Warung and this house right here looking like a kos-kosan. So that's the first thing out of a new Pokémon region deciphered. We know the inspiration. But hey, I'm not so a strainer, and what is the name? Let's get into it. Pokémon region names do not follow any real rules. The first one, Kanto, is based after the Kanto region in Japan, but Johto doesn't follow that rule at all, being based on the Kansai region in Japan and, well, not being named Kansai. Thankfully, Junichi Masuda has helped us a little through the years, explaining the reason behind many of these names. Johto's kanji means castle capital, which apparently is connected to the city of Nara, the inspiration for Violet City. Hon's name means abundant relations, which is tied to the relationships between people and Pokemon. Sinnoh means mysterious and profound, and Hisui, ancient Sinnoh, possibly means hidden and profound, a reference to all of this region's myths. Unova, or its Japanese name Issue, comes from Issue, which means one variety, basically a reference to the whole melting pot connection that is often tied to New York, the inspiration for the Gen 5 region. Kalos famously derives from the Greek word kalos, which means beauty, a topic heavily tied to Pokemon X and Pokemon Y. That's really when Junichi Masuda stopped explaining things, which makes sense as Shigeru Omori took over the director role starting in Sun and Moon. But Alola likely derives from Aloha, as the region is inspired by Hawaii. Then Galar likely derives from Gallant, as the region is inspired by the UK and chivalry is like a big thing there. And Paldea really sounds like a word that could exist in Spanish. Aldea means village in Spanish after all, and paella is a big dish there too, which makes sense as food was a big thing in the games. What I mean is, it's probably easier to think of a region's name now than it was before, and I mean that for two different reasons. First, like we have just discussed, things have really toned down when it comes to the depth behind the region's name. Kalos is named after a Greek word and it is a French-inspired region, no one would even dream about it. But Paldea is possibly named after a rice dish and an actual Spanish word. I cannot believe that during the Scarlet and Violet era I was trying to guess the region's name and I went all in with meaning and depth and history and all that, and I'm not making that mistake again. And I am not making that mistake again because of this frame right here from the trailer. It is very likely that this is the region's name spelled in one of the many Pokemon languages. As we all know, Pokemon languages are often nonsensical, but sometimes and in things that matter, well, they make sense. For example, this is the logo for Galar League, and you can clearly see Galar League there after knowing it. But here is Paldea, and it's still kinda hard to see Paldea even after knowing that it's supposed to spell Paldea right there. It's basically hard to impossible to decipher, but we are here for the fun. And also big thanks to Pokemon A for having a big website just dedicated to the Pokemon alphabets, the many Pokemon alphabets. If you like that kind of stuff, just go there and tell me your guess, or just look at the image and tell me your guess anyway. So let's keep things simple. I'll say that the region name, looking at the image, has 7 letters, which will make it the longest region name. The longest so far was Sinnoh and Paldea, tied with 6, every other region has had 5. Since this seems to be using the Latin Pokemon alphabet, the one used in Kalos, Galar and Paldea, I went out and after frustratingly noticing that one symbol can mean many letters, came up with Wesser. I didn't like it, and since these things are not really 100% certain, I changed it to Wesia or even Wesi region. The idea is simple, the WHEA part comes from weather, because weather seems to play a big role in Pokémon Winds and Pokémon Waves. And then with CEA, I'm just completing the word, but with SEA, I am in a way tying it to the region's inspiration, because Southeast Asia is often abbreviated to SEA. So if I'm correct, which I'm very likely not, welcome everyone to the Wesi region. Tell me down below if you like it and tell me your guess as well. Tell me why you think that is your guess too, because I want to know the explanation. And so that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one. But before I go, I want to thank my YouTube members Good Old Deo, Sean Speaks and Dash Plays, and my Twitch subscribers Anubis here, Zanes222, Lazarix, The Dr. Joe, and Teixeira23 for going that extra mile. Thank you so much for all of your support.